wild card.
Yeah.
But
You're the kind of wild card that says this one thing.
But we're live.
We're live.
At the moment.
And we're live.
And our chat thing is weird. Okay. We're live.
Yeah.
We're here to do some fat shaming.
We're here to fuck shit up.
we're gonna do some fat shaming tonight. Did you come ready to shame fat people?
I guess so. Let's begin the shaming, I suppose.
Okay. So I'm sure you're familiar with the woke fucking bullshit around body positivity.
Yeah.
And you know how it's beyond, people with body dysmorphia kind of, coming to terms with the way they look and like, you look fine and normal. Yeah. It's now straight up encouraging people. It has evolved to a point where it encourages people to be obese and ultimately shames people for being healthy.
Well, I don't think does that. What I think it is
that. I mean, that's what's happening in this.
It seems like that. It seems like it's doing that, but
certain individuals are engaged in that kind of behavior. Maybe not necessarily as a movement.
It's like the hyper push to make something okay. They always do this with anything, right? It's like, oh, we're gonna throw it in your face, and then you can't say anything negative about it because it's like an overcorrection. It's always an overcorrection, right?
Yeah, it's this is the way it is. Has to be because I said so. But so this first little article here that I have pulled up is a weird one. This was this took place in 2015, I believe. So this was like in the early days of the woke stuff.
Yeah.
And
sort of, yeah, you're right.
No, it was. It's the early days. Like,
but I think it was quiet before.
It was. Oh yeah, no, you can trace it back to the 70s.
It was the
and
Trump,
before then, it goes into Marxism and stuff like that, which is way older. It was 2015 was when it really started to take off in the media, probably around the election, and there was fucking. They were talking on Tim Pool how kind of Glee was like the first cultural thing to promote wokeness, sort of.
Oh yeah, I've never watched it. So.
Neither have I.
Thank God.
I don't plan to.
No. I'm gonna have to be very negative or a very what's the word? Ignorant on that show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. But we'll talk about Glee. So this is an ad, a Beachbody ad. I guess a Protein World ad. I guess maybe it's not Beachbody. It's just Protein World. Are you Beachbody? Although, does Beachbody own that?
Probably.
I don't know.
Probably a brand of Beachbody.
It's probably I don't know. It's a fitness ad promoting, I guess, this Protein World product. Says, "Are you Beachbody ready?" And it shows this woman, this very beautiful woman, who is very clearly,
in shape.
She's in very good shape, incredible shape. Now, what's interesting about this story is, clicked an ad, I think. Yeah. What's interesting about this story is that this is not like this is a real woman. Like, there's no editing here, and I understand. You do have instances where people edit models. They make them look a little differently. They maybe widen their hips a little bit, tighten their waist, up their boobs a little bit. But this is a real person, and I think that's sort of the message they were trying to give in this ad. Is like, hey, you can look like this girl. Yeah. Maybe not everybody. You're not going to look exactly like her, right? Your face stuff, you're never going to be the same. But in terms of having like a 10 out of 10 body. You can do that.
Oh, so tell us what you really think. 10 out of 10, eh?
Well, look at that.
Wow.
That's a good looking woman.
No, it's definitely a good looking woman, but we've had these conversations before. I like a wide range, right? So, like, that's obviously you're very much your type.
Yeah,
that's why this one's going to be interesting. This conversation is going to be interesting because I'm on the fence on a couple different aspects of this whole thing. We're gonna have to debate on it.
Yeah, we'll debate.
Yeah,
we'll get into little fisticuffs.
Yeah.
So I'll just read this article here, or some of the stuff they post. When an advert appeared on the London Underground in 2015, asking people whether they were Beachbody ready, it caused uproar. The ad, designed to promote a Protein World slimming product, showed a very slim model in a bright yellow bikini alongside the controversial question. It promoted allegations of body shaming and encouraging women to starve themselves from activists, organizations working against eating disorders, and members of the public. And you see some Twitter posts of people who were either saw I don't know if these people that posting these images did the vandalism or if they just saw it and kind of was like, I like that. So I'm gonna listen.
Isn't that funny though? They're saying it's promoting women starving themselves. They'd rather promote the opposite.
Yeah.
like,
gorging.
Yeah, it's like there can't be a happy medium ever. It's got to be like one extreme or the other. Oh, you're either.
And it's ironic because it's not like this woman is starving herself. Like you can tell when a person's starving herself. They kind of start to look like a skeleton. She does not.
No,
maybe to some people she does, but
she looks like a fitness model. She looks like So if you see,
she's got a low body fat percentage.
Yeah, when you see
and she's in shape
in competition. They're ripped, right? So they look gross, I think, anyway, because like you see...
I don't like a ripped woman.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like when they're in the fitness mode, when they're on stage, but afterward, that's what they look like. Because now they've got back some of the body water that they were like getting down, and they've got a little bit of body fat on them now instead of being down to like 8%.
Right, it's kind of like you see an MMA fighter cutting to meet a certain weight. They'll look very different 2 weeks later or 2 weeks before because a lot of it's
2 days later
dehydration.
2 days later when they're in the ring, they've gained it all back.
Yeah,
right.
So people people posting these vandalism things. Protesters flocked to London's Hyde Park. Women wore their swimsuits on the underground to show what a real beach body looks like. And a petition to ban the ad received over 70,000 signatures. Now, that's just fucking crazy to me. Like, what a real beach body. I mean, of course, any body on the beach is a beach body, okay? If you want to get technical about it, all right? But not all of them look good.
And you know what that sounds like to me? It received 70,000 signatures.
Yeah.
That it didn't get 700,000 other signatures where other people were going, fuck this, I'm not signing this.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't sign that. I'd be like, get out of here. Why am I going to sign that?
It is hard to get people to do things for things, so it is a significant number.
Like, so what?
But
70,000 signatures.
But it just shows how kind of ridiculous
a lot of those people were probably coerced into signing. They felt bad and they were just like, oh, okay, fine.
Or just a manipulative wording, or a typical college leftist feminist kind of woman going to the sort of swarm of simping men that are around her, groveling, trying to get her to do anything. That kind of that guy that like. Women can get certain types of guys in their orbit who would fucking do anything for them no matter what.
Yeah.
Those kind of guys are the kind of guys that would sign that.
Probably.
Like, oh, hey, sign this. Okay.
Most people don't take a hard line on anything. Realistically, like most people sit in the middle.
That's true. I was going to say, like, I take hard lines on a lot of things, but I feel like I'm not like most people.
No, yeah, maybe, but even me, like I find I don't think I'm like most people in certain things, but I don't really take a hard line on a lot of things. I'm just like, hey, because there
are things to take hard lines on.
So for stuff like this, I really don't care. Like, I'm like, yeah.
I care because they're shaming a woman for.
Well, I don't like that. I don't like that, but I don't like conversely the other way around.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm not necessarily encouraging the other way around. Right. I might participate sometimes, but
there's nothing wrong with saying something is not healthy and something is healthy. So to look
and
at her and shame her.
What they're doing, because this is they're encouraging people to be healthy in the advertisement. It's a product built around fitness and being healthy, and they're angry about it.
Funny how you wouldn't see the same people up in arms for an advertisement for like a Pfizer medication for something. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't see them going, oh, they got to take that heart medication down because there's a lot of people dying of whatever or getting this side effect or whatever, right? No, see, it's only when it suits your
vaccine.
Well, only when it suits your agenda, right? That you actually care about something like that.
Yeah.
Because
a lot of this is pseudo-moralistic grandstanding.
Right.
Like, I am better than you because I have these moral principles that you do not adhere to, and I'm going to talk down to you because I'm better than you. That's the attitude that a lot of these people hold.
Who chose to say which side is better and which isn't?
Well, I usually get to decide which side's better. Yeah. That's usually my role in things.
So imagine if a bunch of people stood up on the other side of it and said the opposite, right? Mm-hmm. But typically those people won't, because they're like they don't the kind of people that would make a big stink about something like this or like graffiti that thing or get people to sign whatever are the type of people that most people don't want to engage with, because they know that they're the type of people that they have too much time on their hands. They're willing to take the fight.
They're way more invested in it than you will ever be.
Like, look,
and it's not worth it.
I fucking care.
Yeah, it's absolutely
I'm just going to go to work. You crazy person, go off on your... Yeah.
You fucking go play in the streets.
Yeah, go eat whatever you want to eat. Do whatever the fuck you want. Leave me the fuck alone.
Because that gets into the, a wider conversation here. Like, so a point that I would make is it's kind of like drugs. I would never, like, okay, if you're a person in my life who I care about and I see a problem developing, I will step in and say something and maybe try to help, right? But if your Friday nights are just, you like to sit down and smoke some meth, I wouldn't be like, don't do that. I might say maybe you shouldn't do that.
What if I wanted to come to a meth lab in your basement?
Well, that's a little different. Now you're entering my space.
Okay. No, I just want to
doing
set
something.
I just want to set
the but like if you want to ingest something, I don't really care.
Yeah.
You know, I might say, oh, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. And maybe something could happen, but it's like, oh, whatever, it's your choice. You can do that, right? It's only when a problem arises that I'd be like, you know what? There's an issue here. You know,
like maybe your teeth are rotting out of your head because you're doing meth on Fridays.
Yes. No, that can't be it. That can't be it.
That's because
that doesn't make any sense.
That's just because I don't brush.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Yeah.
No, I know you.
But that's the point of drugs, right? Like, I don't really care what you choose to do with your body. I don't care if you choose to ingest cyanide, for crying out loud. Like, I really don't care if that's your right to do that if you want to do that.
That's morbid, man.
Well, I do believe that
you're gonna die.
I do believe that people have the right to ultimately end their lives if that is something that I don't think that they have any obligation to be here.
Sure. I agree.
Yeah, obviously wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't push somebody off the edge of the bridge and be like, no, do it. You know, but at the same time, it's like, you have a right. No one should force you to do anything, including
body autonomy, man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what this is about, right? So if you want to sit down and you want to gorge yourself, that's fine. You do you, right? I don't really care. But don't force me. Don't try to like tell me that I have to find you attractive. Mm-hmm. You know, don't try to tell me that I have to like support your lifestyle, or that I have to engage in it as well,
or change the science behind it to say that that's actually a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
That's not scientifically fact.
Yeah.
Like we know that's not factual. So like we know that there are a number of things attributed to obesity. You know.
Yeah, but you see what ended up happening here with this advertisement is but now 3 years on. This is, I guess, written by a British person, so the slang, it feels weird to me. But 3 years on, a plus-size fashion brand has reclaimed the Beachbody Ready slogan and aesthetic to launch its own campaign encouraging women to embrace their bodies. We're Beachbody Ready, and it's a bunch of obese. The one on the right might be morbidly obese. I don't know what the lines are, but I think they're more... You typically, when you think about... I found this... when I thought about morbid obesity, I thought of like the my 400-pound life kind of people. But really, it's a lot smaller than I thought. Still big, but morbid obesity might be that woman on the right? So
maybe.
You know, they're all obese for sure.
It's the push that gets me. It's the force it down your throat that gets me, right?
Yeah.
If you put the ad out, if you put the billboard up and you didn't really say anything or whatever, I'd be like, I'd look at it and be like, okay. I'd laugh or whatever. I'd be like, all right, somebody, I don't know what their point is, what they're trying to sell, but it's funny. And I'd probably laugh, but you know what their point is and you know what they're trying to sell. They're trying to sell an ideology. They're trying to get you away from some idea.
An ideology against, personal accountability.
Or being in shape even. Or be like
healthy.
Healthy even. That's
being healthy.
Yeah, you're right.
Because these women aren't healthy. These women, they are not healthy.
Well, I mean,
people are like, oh, you're healthy.
From the picture, it looks pretty small to me. From the picture, yeah, I think you're right that they look like they're probably obese. But like a woman who's 10, 20 pounds overweight.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean she's unhealthy at all.
No.
And she could be even
and she's probably not going to look bad.
50 pounds overweight, and she might not be unhealthy at all, really. But when you start getting over a certain amount, there's all kinds of science behind the idea that you are unhealthy.
It just causes so many problems.
Yeah, you're causing other issues.
There's stress issues on your joints and everything for one that will develop, but then it's like your body is circulating more stuff through more space. Harder, yeah, and it doesn't, and it has the reduced capacity to work harder, right? So it needs to work harder, but it's less capable of doing it.
I don't think anybody can argue the science behind the idea.
But they try.
And then that's what... okay, so these are the fringe people trying to argue the science behind it. I understand the sentiment of saying that I'm going to be comfortable in my skin and that kind of thing. I understand that sentiment. I get behind that. That's the body positivity movement is okay to me. But it's like it's hyper. Like everything's hyper. It's like the woke movement. was
Right.
okay to me, but they pushed it so far that you go, this isn't palatable anymore. The same with this. It's like if somebody says, look, I don't want to live at the gym. I'm maybe 20 pounds overweight, whatever the moniker you're using, if you're using BMI or whatever the hell you're using. But you feel like you're overweight, but you're okay with that, I'm good.
Right.
I find that attractive a lot of times. I told you this. Like I'm different than you that way. Like I find all kinds of different things attractive, and body, the way a woman carries herself to me is very attractive to me too. But you're pushing. You're really pushing it.
See, this also gets to a conversation that I've had with people in the past, where a lot of people will like talk about like I think people try to shy away from. Reality and what they feel. Like I don't know how else to put it.
Really?
Like yeah, I know, right? Really, people avoid reality. But so it's like you'll have somebody who's overweight, and they know they're overweight, and they look at themselves in the mirror, and they're not happy with the way they look, and then they'll go to like these kinds of movements, the body positivity movement, to try to like be assured that like no, you are beautiful or whatever, like and all these things. When it's like
put that same energy into getting rid of whatever's bothering
You're still gonna look in the mirror, and you're still not gonna be happy with the way that you look.
Right.
And nothing's gonna change that, because you know that like you are not, I guess, the best that you could be, or you're not what you could be. Not necessarily the best version of you, but you could be better, and you're not. And it's like I'm struggling to find the words here. I guess what I'm trying to say, it is okay to not be okay with the way that you look, right? That is not a problem. And it's, in a lot of cases, very useful. If you can channel that energy, it's very good. If you look at yourself in the mirror and you're disgusted with what you see, use that energy to work harder. Use that energy to be more disciplined with your diet.
But that's how you do it.
That's how I do it.
Right?
Some people will just fold. Some people will just fold, and they'll be depressed, and they'll be like, well, shit, I'm ugly.
Listen,
and
people
fit.
are motivated differently, right? You might take negative as a motivation. Some people need positivity. There's all kinds of different motivating factors, but generally, if you were to break it down, some people need negative, and some people need positive. Some people need that hurt, right? To like,
that's true.
Somebody breaks up with somebody, and they're like,
demons.
I'm gonna go get in shape, and they go and get all in shape, and they want the person to see them, and they're like, yeah, fuck, look what you don't got anymore. You know what I mean? But I'm with you about the body positivity or the your own view of your body and stuff.
I think a lot of people will put this message forward that you should be okay with the way that you look no matter what. And I guess the message that I want to say is it is okay to not be. It is okay to look at yourself and not be okay with the way that you look. You can go unhealthy directions with that, and you deal with those on an individual basis, person to person, depending on what's going on. In the circumstances, their life, whatever, obviously everybody's different, but this I don't know, telling women that who maybe look in the mirror and aren't happy with the way that they look, that you need to embrace the way that you're beautiful at all sizes, and you need to completely embrace the way that you look and be happy with it. It's like, I think that's damaging in a lot of ways, because it'll encourage people to shy away from self-improvement and just kind of be like, oh, okay, I'm fine to sit here and drink wine and eat cheesecake all night because the internet said that I'm still beautiful. And then but then that causes more problems down the line, because they look at themselves in the mirror and they're getting worse, and there's even more disgusting if that's their natural response. So then they look for more reassurance. It's just like,
this has correlations everywhere, man. Look what we're going through, and I'm not going to get into this too much because I want to stay on topic, but like what we're going through with like racism and stuff. So now you have like white privilege, and I understand what's happening is that hyper push to the other side, because people are like, we hate racism so much that now we're going all the way to the other side. It's like with this, it's like we hate body shaming so much that we're going to go all the way to the other side now, and what we're going to end up doing is we're going to body shame people who are in shape, quote
for
unquote,
being healthy.
we're going to body shame that person for being
putting
healthy.
the effort into looking good, or being healthy.
Like,
which I guess those things kind of correlate. Like,
but who says she in any way thinks anything like that? Just because she looks a certain way doesn't mean she thinks that necessarily. Like, people always think, if you're in shape, that you think a certain way about somebody who isn't in shape. Right? right?
I've noticed that. Have you noticed?
People think I think that way.
You know what gym culture is like.
Yeah, I do.
And I've noticed like people outside of gym culture, they'll
put it down.
They have no idea.
But they'll put it down. They'll put it to the point where they're like, they'll be like, "Oh, you're going to the gym all the time. You live at the gym. You're gym rat."
Straight up in high school, in high school, one of my best friends in high school was in a lot of ways very much similar to me in the mind. Very, very different externally. Not into sports, hated sports, not athletic. Didn't I don't just didn't have that that physical element of masculinity. Very, I don't know. I guess a very feminine, very feminine
beta male
man. Yeah, kind of like that. And I remember we kind of at one point we were kind of getting into a little argument. It wasn't a big argument because I don't really care that much. But he was talking about, because I was working out in high school, and he was talking about like gym coaches. Like, oh yeah, people only go to the gym to like. He genuinely believed that the gym was like where you go to show off and put other people down. And it's like, I don't know how
the gym flexing. You're like, hey.
Yeah, you're showing off, and then you're like, hey, you fucking loser over there, you fat fuck, what are you doing here? Kind of like he thought that that's how the attitude that these people had. It's like that's such an insane.
So opposite though.
It is.
It's so the opposite.
It
if
is.
You go to a gym, big enough
if
gym,
you're a big
and you go to the gym, it's like everybody wants to fucking help you.
Right.
Like if you don't know what you're doing, you have 17 people coming up to you and they're like, hey, I'll help you with that. Like, what do you need with that?
They'll help you. You can go in there and you can walk up to anybody. You walk up to fucking anybody, be like, especially like someone who knows.
How do I use this machine or whatever? And you'll have them fucking over. Or like stop their workout for
literally, you go there and you look for somebody that looks like they're in really good shape, and you're like, hey, like I have these personal. You look like you're in really good shape. Could you give me some advice? You look a little like what I would like. That guy is going to stop what he's doing. Yeah, and he's going to sit there and talk to you for as long as you want him to, and he's going to help you. And you might find some people who I've done it, who become friends.
Like I've done it before. When I was young, going to the gym, I would go up to guys all the time. If I saw a guy that had the physique that I liked, I'd just go up to him and be like, hey. Like, what do you do? Yeah, and I had a guy come up to me the one time, and it was like the biggest compliment I ever got, just for my calves, right? He was just like, what do you do for your calves, man? I was like, somebody's asking me something. I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like, I was like, I don't even know. I forget. I answered smart, actually. I go, you got a paper? You got a pen? I write this down. Genetics. I go, it's the same thing you're doing. I just happen to have bigger calves than you do. Yeah. And he just kind of laughed. And he's like, seriously, do you do anything? I'm like, no, I just do what you do, man. I just got lucky. I don't know.
You can do stuff for calves.
But it's funny when you get back to the sort of, you can, but if you've got small calves, it's really hard to build calves. Like they're just a hard muscle to get big if you don't already have them big. It's like a butt, right? Like a butt. We figured it out a little bit how to do the butt now. Butt's different because it's a bigger muscle. Yeah. But there was a time where girls couldn't put a butt on. But now it's like you can just watch a YouTube video
without eating too much.
Yeah. Well, that's what they were afraid of, right? They didn't want to eat. You got to eat.
Which I don't know. This is I don't know that you would agree with this. There's a major difference in a fitness ass and a cheesecake ass.
Oh yeah.
In terms of just fucking absolutely everything, like I don't.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, like I always say, like you can have a butt that looks amazing. But like you can tell in a pair of jeans, right? Like you have a.
No, but that's what I'm saying. You can tell in the pair of jeans which is which.
No, what I'm saying though is you can have an amazing looking butt in a pair of jeans or a pair of yoga pants or something like that, and then you get those off, and that butt is a mess because those pants are doing what they're supposed to do. They're holding it all together, and then you have a butt that looks amazing in those pants as well. Right. You take those pants off, and it still looks amazing. Yeah. It looks like the pants never came off.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they were holding the pants. Like the pants were going.
Was holding the pants together.
Yeah, the pants were going. Thanks, butt, for making me look better. Not the other way around.
Exactly. And I think a lot of women kind of fall into a trap where they just think all that's important is the big butt.
Well, and it's cyclical, right? It goes like. We're in cycles right now.
Oh yeah, well, like we're in a big butt cycle. Yeah, we're in a butt
legs
cycle.
And butt now are the thing.
Yeah.
There was a time where it was like boobs and stomach, and like it just changes.
See, that's my thing. My thing is more tummy.
Yeah, you're not. You're out of your tummy. You're out of your mainstream right now.
I am.
You're not in the mainstream. I
am a trailblazer. I'm a trailblazer.
Yeah, no. You're just young. You're too young to remember when stomachs and tits were like a big thing.
What was that? The 90s?
Probably the 90s.
Probably the 90s. I feel like that was because 90s was like cargo pants, so like you're sort of down.
You get a lot of low, like, so back in the 90s it was all like low rise. Everything was low rise. Now you look at everything now, it's like high. Everything's high waisted now. But in the 90s everything was like low rise. So like a girl bend over and all you'd see is half her ass jumping out. I happen to like that. But a lot of people don't like that. So it's like, we have our times. But I was going to say something earlier about the whole body thing, about the whole body image. I have those. I go through those too. But I go through them mostly with, and I go through with regular stuff too, but mostly with stuff that I have zero control to change. Like my height. Well, hairline's different. I guess I could change it technically, but...
With enough money. You've seen Elon Musk's hairline.
But I mean, it still looks... We're not there yet. We're in the infancy stages of hair.
I think Elon Musk's is a miracle. What happened to him?
What do you mean? I don't even know
his hairline.
Oh, what I'm saying though is, he probably just bought some other guy's scalp and had it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Enough money, you can solve anything.
That's what I mean.
Even the
but
hairline.
I'm saying like something you could go to a salon and get done right now.
Yeah,
we're in the infant stage of that.
Yeah.
I don't want to look like I've got pubic hair sticking out of my head.
Yeah.
So I'm good. I'll just shave it and we're good. But the height thing, that's something I've dealt with my whole life, right? I would love to be like
you're wee lad.
Shut your mouth. If anyone watching wants to know, I'm about 5'6.5", so I'm under average height for a man. This prick is over average height, not by much, but
5'11".
Yeah, which is 5'9.5", I think, is the average male height now.
Oh, okay, yeah. If I told you I was 6 feet, you'd believe me. If I was standing next to you, kind of thing.
And then you'd be like, if I said I was 5 feet, you'd be like, yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah, well, I would question whether or not you're being honest because I feel like you're at least 4.5.
That's just body shaming.
Yeah, I know. This is the fat shaming episode, so that's what we're.
Why are you shaming my height?
Well, we got to
shame. That's a whole other podcast, Dirk.
That's okay. Next week will be the height shaming episode.
Podcast.
We're just gonna rip on Alex.
Yeah. I can take it. No, but you know what I mean. So it's like when you look at those things and you deal with those things your whole life. I get the idea of like body positivity. I've dealt with those things and I'm cool. I'm fine with them. Like, I'm fine in the way where I'm like, it's not going to affect my life day to day. But if you told me tomorrow, said, hey, come to this clinic, and we're going to, like, do this thing where we, like, fuck with your legs a little, and you're going to get 6 inches out of it. I'd be like, yep.
Just depends on what
Well, it depends on what the outcome would be, obviously, right? If you're going to, now I can't walk right, fuck it. No, I'm good.
Yeah.
But if you just, like, here, you take this pill for, like, 3 days, your legs are just going to grow.
Right. You just be...
And everything's going to proportionate.
Right, you're just going to be taller.
Yeah, I'm just going to be... I'll be like...
It's like maybe some form of gene therapy that is whatever the
like maybe like
height gene is.
Like a vaccine gene therapy.
Yeah.
Something
like that, but just makes you taller.
Oh, man. Come on, man. Can we have a pandemic that's like... short people or something, and we work on a vaccine for that?
I think that's called history, and we solve that by cooking our food. Well, I think there's a lot of competing theories about that.
If we solve that, why am I still this height?
Well,
so apparently we didn't solve shit.
Some undesirable genes got through. Still,
that's the nicest way anybody's ever put me down. Thank you. You have undesirable genes.
Well, hey, listen. You have a twin that clearly got all the good.
Stop kissing my twin's ass.
She's nice to me. I like her.
Yeah. I should say it on the podcast. Why?
No, we won't talk about that.
I'll leave it out. Yeah. Okay. So go on to the next thing we're talking about here.
No, we'll talk about this one first.
Oh, okay.
This is an individual. Melissa, cancel student debt, burn. On Twitter.
She got a cool name.
Yeah, she got a cool middle name, eh?
So her parents, you got to say it like this though, Melissa, cancel student debt.
Yeah,
cancel student debt.
I feel like you maybe need to shout it in a more demanding way.
Cancel student debt.
She writes, is fat shaming the new CDC government policy? The last week of CDC government tweets have been awful, and she linked this tweet. A new I don't even know what. That's a lot of letters. I don't know what they stand for.
CDC MMVR?
Yeah, I don't know.
Some kind of study.
MMWR. That's a W.
Oh, I see. Okay.
There's two V's put together.
I thought it was 2 V's.
Yeah. It's a W.
Double V?
W.
Why do they call it W if it's two V's slammed
In
together?
French, it's W and V is V.
See?
So it's
French are smart.
English just doesn't. No, don't ever say that.
Yeah.
Don't ever say that again.
Listen, I will say that again.
French are the worst.
French.
Okay. Finds that 2 out of 3 children and adolescents hospitalized from #COVID-19 had one or more underlying health conditions, most commonly obesity. Fewer than 1% eligible for COVID-19 vaccination had been vaccinated. The CDC is basically saying obesity is a problem. Obesity.
Are they also saying if you're obese, go get the vaccine? Is that what they're trying to say there?
Well, I think there's a little
they're just trying to
bit
tell
of
everybody to get the vaccine.
pushing the vaccine on there.
Yeah.
But they're saying that obesity is
So they're finally saying the quiet part out loud, essentially now.
Was that ever the quiet part?
Well, for them it was.
For the CDC?
That's what I'm saying. For them it was the quiet part. They didn't want to say that shit.
Yeah, I guess.
They didn't want to say any of that stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess they didn't really say that early on, but that is something that they said. It's
thanks tips. Like, you're telling me if you're overweight,
this people's like that's
going to be
fat
a problem.
shaming. That's fat shaming now is to say, hey, if your kid is obese, you maybe they're higher risk of getting sick.
The next thing they're going to come up with, the CDC says that wind loss is related to overweight. Are your kids getting tired quicker when they're running? Are they out of breath?
Do they huff and puff at the top of the staircase?
Like, come on, man. This is borderline absurdity. What are you talking about?
Borderline?
Well,
we're there. We're in fucking
all right, I was trying to be nice.
We're in Looney Land.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like,
what the hell is going on?
These are supposed.
How does this person have this thought in
the
their
science?
head?
These are supposed to be where the science comes from. The science. It's where it's supposed to come from.
I don't think Fauci said that.
No, I'm just saying. What I'm saying though, these are the government entities where we're supposed to look to for the answers for like the science and stuff. And and 2 years later, they're putting this shit out now.
Yeah,
like they should have been blasting that from the rooftops right away. They should have been saying, "Look, listen,
be healthy.
This is what we know about
vitamin D,
about viruses and pathogens.
Be healthy.
And stuff. Yeah, so we know certain things.
Get outside.
This will help you." In absence of the knowledge of any of the long-term knowledge, which we don't have yet, we know that if you're a healthier person, you're going to be at lower risk for having a bad case of COVID.
You might. Yeah. There were a lot of instances, even at the beginning, when you could say the virus was at its worst in terms of the impact that it had, right? Because now it's mutated, it's less deadly, less.
Like they
harmful.
seem to be doing this thing.
But you had a lot of instances where people. Were completely asymptomatic or had very minor symptoms.
Yeah.
Right? Like just a little something here, a little cough for a couple of days. Yeah. Without even the whole Joe Rogan thing where you just, throw everything you can at the disease. Yeah. Just you get it and then you're good a couple of days later and you were never even down. That happened a lot.
The thing that bugs me about it is they put this big thing on the vaccine, this indemnity clause basically that nobody could go and sue the vaccine makers for the vaccine. So if you
and they're logging up the data for 55 years.
No, but listen, my point with this though is they do that with that, but yet they just seemed, because I'm only guessing this, unless there was this maniacal effort behind the scenes that I don't know about. But I'm gonna guess that they did this to kind of cover their own ass. They don't want to release too much information early because they're like, we don't know, so we want to say this and we don't want to mislead the public. But you're cool with releasing a fucking experimental vaccine on people, a gene therapy on people, and then taking all the onus away from the pharmaceutical companies from being sued or any of that kind of shit. But you're worried about putting out possibly some early misinformation. So if let's say you said they said they came up with the idea that vitamin D was going to be good for people and stop. If you have higher vitamin D, you're going to have less of an effect from COVID-19.
Well, vitamin D is
I know this, but I'm
essential to your immune system.
Listen, what I'm saying though is if they don't know this right away, but they have an inclination. It's the early studies are showing that. Why not say it? But identify themselves from say, look, we think this. We're not 100% sure yet because, of course, we're in.
Well, no, they were like the thing about vitamin D is it's not that it could. I know,
but you're
protect
missing
you
my
from
point.
COVID. It's that vitamin D is critical to your immune system, and that data was there.
My point, though, my point is that if we can make the argument that they're not releasing this information early because they're worried about releasing information too early and they don't know that answer yet definitively, but they have an inclination that it is something like that. For example, like ivermectin or something might help, and it's not going to necessarily hurt. Why not just say that? Say, look, this might help you. We don't know 100%
money.
Yet. But that's exactly. Yeah. But that's what
that's ultimately what it was.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's
that's what pisses me off. But now everybody's lost faith in these organizations that are supposed to be the trust organizations that we're supposed to look at and say, yeah, we believe the CDC.
Joe Rogan posted something on his Instagram today. Oh man, I might be able to actually pull it up real quick. It's like two guys standing over a grave, and the grave is, two guys standing over a grave, and it's the one. It's CDC credibility is on the tombstone, and the one guy says, "Do you think it died with COVID or because of COVID?"
That's awesome. That's clever.
Joe Rogan posted that.
I don't think that's gonna get enough. That should get a crazy amount of money for that smart thought.
Yeah, whoever
came up with that
whoever wrote that little comic strip thing,
meme or whatever you want to call it. If it's a meme, I don't know.
Meme. I guess it's a meme. Yeah,
I guess it's a meme, right?
Yeah.
So whoever wrote that should make money. Like I would donate to that. I'd give him $5. I'd say that's a great idea. Yeah. Here's $5, and everybody. A million people are going to give you $5 each.
To be realistic, they probably did get money. They probably did get money because Joe Rogan posted it, and so there's probably a lot of traction to their work. They probably got a lot of followers and whatever, you know.
I just love creative ideas like that, and that's smart.
It's funny.
And it's like it makes certain people think. Like they read that and they go, that's funny, but you're kind of right.
Well, the issue is
right.
They don't necessarily get it, you know. The people who have their heads so far up CNN's ass that they don't really understand.
I think again, like we've had this discussion before. I think the overwhelming majority of people are outside of that. Like I think it used to be. Yes. I think it was a lot closer to 50-50 at one point,
it's a third.
or even higher, leaning towards like believing all that bullshit. Now I would say it's probably like 80-20 or less.
I think it's a third of the population has lost its mind. And the rest is.
I don't think it's that high.
I think it is.
That's pretty high, man. Like I think
I think that's why there's so much momentum behind the authoritarianism.
Yeah, but I think again that's a lot of people that just aren't going to fight it. A lot of people are just going along.
Yeah, that's probably the second, third. Well, that's probably That's probably half the population.
I would say it's more than half.
And then
that's probably 60-70% of the population, man. And then you have the other outliers that are on one side or the other, like that are very against and ones that are pro. And I, unfortunately, because I'm not usually in this party, but I'm the very against end because it's infringing on personal freedoms. And I at first I was okay with it, but now it's silly. But
no, that's the problem. I was never okay with it.
I was okay with 15 days spread and stuff.
I would have said
I was fine with that.
I wasn't. I was thinking at that time, the original lockdowns, my thoughts were, I probably did say this to some people, but I didn't know you at the time.
That it was going to go further?
It was, but I was, the way that I rationalized it from more of a libertarian perspective was, even if there's some kind of flesh-eating bacteria that spreads through the air that is indiscriminately killing like 50% of the people that catch it, it is not okay to just shut down the economy for this. Like I wouldn't support that. Like I'd be like, educate people, tell them how they can best protect themselves. Maybe even give people the ability to be like, okay, here we're gonna if you do not want to go to work, we're gonna subsidize you staying at home, like what they did. But instead of forcing you to do this, like it's optional. We're gonna make it illegal, to fire you for making this choice. Mm-hmm. But you have the right to go to your job. You have the right to run your business. To take that away from people, I think is way too far. I just do not think there's any situation that justifies it, barring maybe an alien invasion. But we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, but we should talk about the
So
our original.
We'll go to the next little topic here. Yeah. We'll block notifications. So this. This is a large woman.
I know her, right? I've seen her before and stuff.
I think she's famous.
I've seen her for something. I can't remember.
But the title of this article is, what in the heck? Get these advertisements out of here. I need that. You got to install ad block on here. Mary Lambert tells of triggering experience while trying to get an MRI as a fat patient.
2 seconds. I'm going to go get as a not fat patient.
As a not fat patient, I need a beer, yes.
Give me that one.
There you go. Thank you, sir. I'll read some of this article while you do that. Mary Lambert recently took to social media after suffering a triggering experience while trying to get an MRI as a fat patient.
I fucking hate the word triggering, by the way.
The 32-year-old Seattle singer posted on Instagram and Twitter last week about her experience as a self-proclaimed fat girl at her local radiology office. Mary injured her knee on December 26 in a skiing accident. I wonder how. And I shouldn't laugh at that because like she felt pain, but I'm like, hey, man, you got a lot of weight and you're sliding down a hill.
Although you should read forward, maybe that's what caused some.
Yeah, in a skiing accident, and a few days later went to Reyes Radiology in Massachusetts for an emergency MRI.
Okay.
And
so she was.
You can see she's clearly a large woman. Yeah. Just tried to get an MRI at Reyes Radiology and was shocked at how unprepared they were for a fat patient. I changed into their biggest scrubs, a double X, and had half of my butt exposed, only to have the MRI coil not fit around my knee. I was asked my weight 3 separate times, and she probably refused.
See, this is what bothers me about it. So your
feelings
decisions, so your life decisions. Everybody has to alter everything else for you. So we have a generalized, and I mean, it has to be generalized because it fits most people. We have a generalized machine, an MRI that probably costs $250,000 or $300,000, maybe more. I'm probably ridiculous. I'm probably way off.
MRI machine,
probably 10 times that. Who knows?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna Google.
But anyways, whatever. Let's even say it's $1 million for a damn MRI machine. So these guys that make this MRI machine should be like, hey, listen. Okay, there's a small percentage of the population that is obese. We need to make this machine fit them. Like, for example, those shows that you see, there's one called 1,000 Pound Sisters. Ugh, I hate that I know this, but I know it because of some people make me aware of the existence of this show. Anyways, so this one woman in the show is 670 pounds, I think it is, one of the sisters. If she were to go get an MRI, they would literally have to use some kind of animal machine on her. Like, honestly, they would have to use something that they
designed
use
for
at a zoo or something like, or for a horse. Or
the average MRI machine costs over $1 million.
There you go.
Yeah.
But so should they design that machine to fit this outlier of a person because she makes up maybe a half of a fucking percent of the population? Let's say, like it's,
just because she exists, right, as an outlier, they need to. They need to restructure everything.
That's what I'm saying. It's like people that are overweight get on a plane and they're like, I shouldn't have to pay for 2 seats. You damn right you should have to pay for 2 seats because
you take up 2 seats.
Because you're taking up 2 seats.
Yeah. You have made the choice to be the size of 2 people, some cases more.
Or don't travel on the train or on the plane. That's your other choice.
Yeah.
That plane shouldn't have to make all the accommodations for that person. Just like, and I'm going to use something that's controversial and poignant to our current climate. It's like somebody walks into a store. That store has a mask mandate in place for their store. For you to go into that store, you got to wear a mask. Put the fucking mask on. I'm not even for masks. I hate them. I cannot wait till they're not a fucking thing. I hate wearing them every time. But I'm pro free choice. And if you have a store and you say, hey, put the mask on, it's a simple accommodation.
My issue with the mask mandates is that it comes from the government.
Well,
I don't have a problem with the private store being like, hey, I want you to wear a mask in here. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So this, for example, it's the same thing. If you choose to get on that plane, it's not the plane provider, whoever it is, Delta or American Airlines or in Canada or Canada.
Just list them all.
Whatever, let's list them all. I'm getting hot here. I don't know why I'm getting so hot about this. But heated. It's not, that's not their fucking job to make sure that your shit is accessible. It's your job to make sure that you are accessible in some way for that product or that service or whatever.
If you can't use
but
it,
they're trying to flip the script here, and
the world
We're
needs
letting
to
them for
shape
now.
itself around me, because a lot of it's encouraged. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you go, girl.
Or we're letting them get away
in
with
the
it.
wrong for
whether we're encouraging them or not. Like, we're not encouraging it, obviously.
No, you and I aren't.
But we're letting it
Society
happen.
is.
We're letting it happen too, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't really contribute to that at all. I don't run a.
No, I know. But what I'm saying though is, like, we just we turn a blind eye to it, and then other people do the same thing. And instead of saying no, listen. I mean, we're kind of saying it now on a podcast, but
no, yeah, we are. Like, I feel like, I don't know if you're like I am. Like, if I ran an airliner and a obese person complained about having to buy 2 tickets or whatever, I tell them just to not. Like, I tell them to F off. Like,
I'd be like, you can choose another airline.
Or if we're like, because I think this has happened. Sometimes they ask people to move for weight distribution, and that'll offend some people. But it's like, no, this is reality, right? This is how the center of mass works, and it's kind of important when flying. At how fast it leaves 400 or 500 kilometers an hour.
No.
Miles an hour.
It's miles an hour.
So yeah, something like so. Just fucking really fast through the air.
Feet,
giant, crazy, complex piece of machinery. Yeah, no, you need to move, and you're gonna complain about that. My personal reaction as a CEO, owner, whatever, is to be like, no, F off. Yeah. No, screw you. Here's reality. You either need to deal with it or just don't come here. Yeah. Don't use our services.
Your life decisions.
We're not gonna rebuild our airplanes. Right. To fit around you, exactly. Basically,
exactly. Yeah. So it's
or anything else, right? If you're designing like a scooter or
and if you don't like that, I mean, heck, get together with a bunch of people that are like-minded like you and develop an airline for people that are bigger. I'm sure there would be a market for that for your.
The only problem is it'd be stupid expensive, Well, it would either be stupid expensive to have a plane. Plane that's capable, that's big enough, or you'd have less seats.
Oh, I'm being ridiculous when I say that, obviously, right? But
yeah, no, and I'm taking it very seriously.
Yeah, you are.
I'm thinking about how it would actually play out. It would fail so fast.
Again, at the same time, I feel like I have to say this too. I'm not without compassion to the struggles of somebody. Obviously, if you're overweight and you're having a hard time losing the weight, like, there's a number of reasons why people have an incredible hard time losing weight. There's thyroid issues. There's all kinds of metabolic issues that are going on in certain people.
Mental health plays a role too.
Well, it does. But what I'm saying, like, I'm not even talking about that. There's a number of other things, but I'm saying, but these things that make it hard for people, and I've seen people struggle that try to lose weight, and a lot of times what it is too is just not having the proper access to the correct materials to be able to actually learn what they're doing, or the inclination, time, lack of effort. There's so many different things to factor in. Oh, yeah. But I'm saying, I'm not without some empathy for that. I can understand their plight in that regard. But again, having said that, for you to push the idea that for someone to say something that is factual, let's say those people that were conducting the MRI, they say, look, we can't fit this around you. And for you to now put a slanderous article out about that, or about whatever the fuck your point is there, other than maybe shaming yourself, I don't know, like that. Really, that's it comes off
to a normal person. You're like, oh, why are you publicizing this? That's such an embarrassing experience to go through.
Like, I walked into a place and I farted the other day, and people were looking at me disgusted. They were like, ew, I'm smelling your butt.
How dare they?
How dare they?
Yeah.
I had a natural.
Have you seen? Because she talks about, she makes a point. I was asked my weight 3 times. Have you seen?
It's very pertinent.
There are like these cards that were going around Twitter that people made so that you could print them off and then you'd give them to your doctor, and it's like, says something like, "Please don't ask me about my weight," or something like that. And it's like, when you're going to a doctor to get sort of like a health assessment, or you have something that's wrong with you, and the doctor's trying to figure out like what's wrong, why it's wrong, and how to fix it. Yeah. Knowing your weight is critical. All right, because
ask me about my tire pressure.
Again, we've talked about.
I'd rather talk about that.
yeah, but like, again, that's like
fuck, man.
That it's absurd. Such an important thing. It's like
it's all absurd, man.
It's like asking the doctor to avoid, asking you about your diet. Like,
don't talk to me about my diet.
You go to the doctor with a tummy ache, and the doctor asks you, well, what have you been eating? You're like, don't ask me that.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why not? I've been eating nothing but gummy worms.
Yeah.
Well, there's your problem right there. Don't shame me for,
Take your car into a shop and just go, bring it in and go, okay, I want you to fix it. Oh, okay, what's wrong? Don't ask me what's wrong with it. No, I feel like you're shaming me. Don't ask me what's wrong.
Your car is shaming me.
We need to get it up on the hoist, take a look at it. Nope, don't do that. That's invasive.
Yeah,
I'm feeling very triggered right now.
I just
want you to make it work.
Yeah.
Without answering any questions whatsoever. It's I don't know how to take it.
Right, so she writes on, I was crying so hard in the dressing area that I had a panic attack. And it's an experience that fat people are often used to feel shame about. Or are often used to feeling ashamed about.
Yeah.
Might be what
That's
they're
what
trying to say. Get an editor. People wonder why fat folks wait to / don't seek medical treatment for themselves, and it's experiences like this that reinforce the idea that there is something wrong or abnormal with our bodies. No, there is something abnormal at the very least. If you don't want to call it wrong, it's abnormal. That's why you don't fit in the MRI machine. A normal person fits in the MRI machine, right? They wouldn't build an MRI machine that only fit, 15% of the population.
It's a nonsensical conversation. That's what's irritating about it. It's because it's based completely.
Fat people have existed since forever, she concluded, while asking the radiology office to reach out to learn more about her experience, and how they can be more inclusive. That is just not the case, right? Fat people are a product of excess. Excess has probably only existed for 10,000 years.
No, there is evidence to show that there were fat people back in say Roman times, things like that.
Okay,
but
so you interrupted me before I finished my sentence. I said 10,000 years.
I'm
talking about agricultural society.
You're thinking that fat didn't exist prior to 10,000 years ago.
I think probably not.
That's absurd.
I think you probably didn't have fat people in tribal societies. Yeah. I don't think there was enough stuff. I just don't think there was enough. They had to go around. They had to share it. And that's why you didn't have megalithic structures, is because they didn't have access, because they were constantly getting food. And that's sort of the hunter-gatherer way.
Listen, man, but you're taking...
Plus, you also had to do more for it.
You're taking metabolic phases out of it. You're taking all kinds of different things out of the equation. Some people put on weight.
I think I would bet all the money in the world that zero people pre 12,000, 10,000 years ago
good bet.
were her size.
That's a good bet, because you neither have all of the money in the world, nor could we ever prove it. Great bet. Listen, I'll take that bet, man. I'm going to take that bet. You can spend
guaranteed.
You can spend the rest of your life trying to figure it out.
Ever was her size until you had access through agriculture.
I'll give you this.
And then even then,
I'll give you this much.
Even then, it was only the wealthy, the kings, the lords.
Yeah, I'm going to give you this much. I'm going to give you this much to say this. I would find it possible that there weren't people her size 10,000 years ago. I'd find it possible, but I would also find it very possible that there were. I just don't know. I can't go that far back.
Art's watching.
Is he?
He's in the chat.
Is he?
He says, I'm a fat dude, and looking at this article makes me think the ground is moving in two different directions when I hear of dummies like this. And he says, Mike Smith.
That's actually, I was going to say, that's our buddy. Yeah. Our buddy used that one time that I forget, he was trying to explain something. He's like, it's like you're standing in one spot and the ground's trying to move in two different ways. And we just looked at him and we're like, are you fucking high? What were you trying to say there? We all just started laughing at him. It was just weird. It was he was a nice dude, but a little bizarre.
Yeah.
I still think he's a nice guy. He's just bizarre, kind of a bizarre guy, right? Mm-hmm. I never had a real problem with him or anything. But that's funny that he brings them up.
Yeah.
He'll be on just for anybody watching, our buddy Art, who's commenting there, will be on our podcast next week, talking about cryptocurrencies, because he's the resident expert.
He knows.
Yeah, he knows a lot of shit.
He knows some things about
He's probably
crypto.
forgotten more than I know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like using that.
You don't know a lot to begin with, so it's not like a high bar to reach.
You know what, man? I could see you being that dickhead that would fat shame people, because you're a big jerk. Yeah. I'd like to see you fat shame my buddy Art. He'd pound you into fucking hamburger meat.
Art's not that big though.
Yeah, but he's not. No, he's not fat. He always says he's fat. He's just a big.
He's got extra weight on him, but it's not like It's not like this woman.
He could cut 30 pounds and be a fucking tank.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a tank guy. You grab the guy and he's like double the width of me. That's what I'm saying. He'd pound you in the hamburger if you fat shamed him.
I'd probably make delicious hamburger, to be honest.
You would. You probably
I'd probably
would.
Be a very
You're a little
hamburger.
fucking skinny, though. You should get a little meat on your bones.
Lean. Be a lean burger.
A little too lean, pal.
Yeah.
I'm going to shame you into putting
I need less meat on
my
my
I'm going to shame you into putting some meat on your bones.
Nope, I'm going for a 6-pack.
Is she? What was she going on there?
Oh, that's what I already wrote. These are the tweet threads that were kind of compiled.
But the thing, okay, so we look at her so go back, go to her picture. Go up. Let's look at her picture though, real quick. She's not really that big. Like she's not.
She's big.
No, she's okay. Listen, she's big, but she's not crazy big. She's big. In the obese realm, obviously, because like if you did BMI, she definitely hits the obese. She's probably, I would say, maybe 50 to 70 pounds over what would be like a.
This is also 2019.
Oh, is she bigger than that now?
So she might be bigger. Well, if we go back to this,
and again, I'm not even.
She does look bigger in this image than that. So maybe, and this image, that was in 2016. So she's clearly up and down. But
yeah, but that's another thing that happens with women that lose weight.
If you do it wrong, right?
Well, what happens, and I've said this a number of times with metabolism, what happens to your metabolism when you start to do crash diets, like Weight Watchers is one of the worst out there. Anybody who's doing Weight Watchers and they're watching right now, I'm going to give you a little bit of science behind it. So when you do a crash diet like that, you're on a calorie deficit diet. You're now gonna be taking in, say, 20% less calories than you should be for basal to manage your weight. When you're finished doing that, you're gonna go to what you think is now a basal amount of calories to maintain your weight. But that's changed, and it might not have changed that much, right? It might have changed by 5% or something. But when you factor that over time, and what's happened too, when you've lost all that weight, let's say you've lost 50 pounds doing that, you've lost muscle weight, you haven't rebuilt that muscle weight, so you haven't gone to the gym and rebuilt that muscle that you lost. So now your metabolism changes there, and now you don't need as much caloric intake to maintain your body. So these are all a number of things that are happening. So you lose that 50 pounds, then you go back to a regular diet. You're going to put that 50 pounds back on and then some at some point very easily. And it happens quite quickly. And then when you go to try to do that again, you take it off again. Unless you're building muscle, unless you're changing your metabolism, your body's burning, the cycle's just going to continue. And then that's where long term you get into now you get into some different stuff when you're talking about like your thyroid issues or insulin resistance and all these kinds of things that are happening. But I'm not going to get into that. It's a long-winded sort of conversation. But what I'm saying though, as far as the if she's juggling weight, that's probably something that's happening for her, right? And I feel for her. Yeah. So then maybe if that's what's happening, then maybe she isn't actually. Maybe she's of that other group that wants to lose the weight, is struggling, so is now trying to push it down everybody's throat to accept that she's a certain way, and we all have to be happy about it because she's not. Right? And stop ignoring me. What are you doing?
I want to pull this up.
Usually you're talking so much I can't even get a word in edgewise.
I know.
I'm kidding. You're pulling up another thing?
I want to pull up these cards that were going around Twitter that people were talking about. So I'm going to switch this over to here.
Again, like I like to leave it in a thing. I'm not never. But I will shame somebody who is wishy-washy on what they believe on something. If you believe a certain way, if you are completely dead balls happy with being a certain size and you own it and you live it, and fine, go nuts. I'll accept you that way and I'm cool. Mm-hmm. I'm like, hey, I'll accept you anyway. But if you're in conflict about it and then you try and bring me along for that fucking ride, I don't want to
make me reinforce you know, being a certain
I'm not going to be part of your ride. I'm not going to be part of your crazy ride. Like, do you, and don't fucking try and sell me on you being you. And don't be mad that the MRI is a little too fucking small.
It's a little too small for you.
Maybe
you have to buy 2 plane tickets.
Maybe look up online where they've got a bigger MRI.
Or that you have to order your clothes special made because you can't find anything that
Guess
fits.
what I've struggled with my whole fucking life, basically. Well, my whole adult life.
Small,
medium shirts.
Small,
and you're probably
medium
going to say this shirt. Fucking, you know what I get a lot of times people say? Like, oh, you're wearing a kid's shirt?
Yeah, apartment.
Yeah. I get shit like that all the time. But I'm okay with it because I see the joke. But I've always struggled between small and medium shirts. Like, it's like I get a medium sometimes and they're too fucking long. Or they generally fit okay this way, but they're too long and then that bugs me. So I'll get a small and it's too fucking tight. I'm in between. So the struggle is real. Okay? So don't shame me on that. And maybe... clothing designers, I think you're going to need to come to me and be very considerate.
Like Alex exist.
Yeah. Right. Come do measurements of me that will change from time to time when I decide to eat
and
more
change
ice
your
cream.
product.
Yeah, and I'm going to need you to change your product accordingly.
This one particular individual who has made a choice
and that choice changes all the time. I'm just saying. Because tomorrow I might feel different and I'm going to need you to take that ride with me. Okay? Yeah, or else I'm triggered.
It's not coming up.
I'm feeling quite triggered right now. That word, man. That word triggers me.
Yeah, it's been a shitty word.
When somebody says that shit, that's like moist to me.
But okay.
Moist.
This is what's written on this idea is that this is a card that you can give to your doctor.
A card.
Right?
Oh yeah.
I practice health at every size. Health at every size is an evidence-based health practice. Where you know something's really evidence-based when they have to say evidence-based. That this is evidence-based. They really need to emphasize it.
I'm going to tell you about this beer. It's got a lot of water in it. It's good for you. It's hydrating. That's evidence-based.
Yeah, you need the water. Mm-hmm. Evidence-based health practice where the focus is on health and healthy habits rather than body size and weight loss. Those things, they correlate. Yeah. In order for us to work together for my best health, please don't prescribe weight loss as a health intervention. Don't weigh me unless medically necessary, i.e. for proper doses of medication, and don't tell me the number unless I ask. Consider prescribing the same things that you would to a thin person with the same problem.
Only twice.
Yeah, just
only double the dose.
Yeah, just double the doses. Prescribe evidence-based interventions and give me the opportunity to provide informed consent. Provide me with shame-free healthcare.
You know what this reminds me of? You've ever been out? I don't know if you've ever experienced this. Have you ever been out where there's one of those deaf guys, or they play like they're deaf, and they've got the little card, and like you'll be at dinner or something like that, and they just put it down on the table?
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever experienced this? This was like a little phenomenon that was going on for a while.
I've seen that happen.
But literally, they just go like this. Like, you'd be sitting eating, and somebody let this fucker in, and they pretend they're deaf or whatever, and they just come up like this, and they just put this card down on the table in front of you, and they just stand there. Just creepy like this. Like, waiting for you to fucking pay for it and put money down. That was their way of... If you read it, it would say... It was just this long little winded speech of like, I'm deaf and blah, 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 and please help with anything you can give or whatever. But it wasn't... It was real fucking creepy in your face. Like,
yeah.
Like, it was like, here, you're going to pay for that. It was... South Park did an episode about that with like Whole Foods store where he was going in. Do you remember what I'm talking about? I remember that and one. He goes, would you like to donate for kids?
Yes. Hungry? And he's like, you got to pull your change out of that kid's mouth. And he's pulling. He's like, oh yeah, he's a hungry one. He's a hungry one. He's not letting go.
Oh, he gave $1, everybody. He gave $1. He's going to end hunger with his $1.
$1. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Well, that's
you know what I saw? You know what I saw one time? I was at Shoppers, and you know how at certain times of year or whatever, you go to the self-checkout and it'll be like, would you like to donate to this thing, whatever, right? You click the button. I saw a guy call over the cashier and say, oh, can you undo this for me? I accidentally clicked the donate $1 thing.
Oh, that's pretty sad.
That's so sad, right? How big of a freaking loser are you? Like...
That's cringe, man.
If you accidentally hit it, you're in. You're in for it.
I think I'd have just been like, if he did that and I was like right there beside him, I'd be like, and he was like, oh, if he said it to me, he was like,
pull it a loony.
I'd just be like, here, buddy, let me make that for you.
Yeah.
It's just don't call them over. That's fucking brutal.
Yeah, but I couldn't believe that he would do that.
But I mean, I do like going to the self checkout because you can check that off as no and be okay with
Yeah.
it. Because I'm always saying
I always
yes.
say no. I always say no.
No, I'm always saying yes.
Yeah,
Every
I don't-
fucking
I don't,
time.
I don't get pressured like
I
that.
do. I
don't get
always do.
pressured.
And a lot of times I give more than I
Then you
want to.
should.
Well, I would just be like,
Then you
because
want to.
I hate when they do the thing where they go, oh, would you like to donate to such and such? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. How much? Fuck you, man. Like,
Yeah.
I want to finish that with the fuck you. How about you just do $1 and don't fucking pressure me, you dickbag.
Yeah.
Instead of putting me out of task. So I'm always like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, I don't know, like $10, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm like, fine, okay.
I
give $10 for which fucking 50 cents makes it to the starving kid.
What does it for me, and I don't feel any guilt at all always saying no. Like, I'll give individuals money, I'll tip, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but charities just, they're fucked.
Oh, it's
like
brutal.
90% of the money just
5%,
goes to people.
5 to 8%, I think it is,
Yeah.
on average,
So
makes
it's
it
like,
to the end.
oh, so I fucking donate, but whoop-de-doo, it fucking put some money in
That's why I
someone's
said
pocket.
50 cents of that made it to the hungry kid. The other 9.50 made it to some assholes making sure my money went to where
so
it was
it's
supposed
like,
to go.
I don't care. Like, if I see somebody, is fucking another thing, tipping, or, I don't know, someone's fucking begging for money and you want to go, it's an individual thing is very, very different than these things. Like, I'm not going to participate in that. Like, if you want to have a charity that's like, all of this is actually going into a thing, like, okay, maybe I'll contribute.
That's why, honestly,
to that.
I like
But
the
those
idea.
don't exist.
Like,
really.
I like that. I like the idea. I know people have done this.
Top-heavy administrated.
I've never exactly.
Yeah.
I've never done this personally, but I like the idea of this. Like when you see somebody begging for something, and people will give them food or things like that. You know that the person that's like on the street and they don't have anything, whatever. Other than if it were me, it'd be a bad thing because I'm picky as fuck. Somebody'd come up with some food and I'd be like, oh, thank you. Fuck, I don't eat this.
Yeah.
But I'd probably eat it because I'd be hungry.
Yeah.
But the people that wouldn't be real, they'd be like, oh, fuck, I wanted money for the meth I wanted to do. But whatever, I guess I'll take this food, thanks.
Yeah, I know.
Like, no, I've got plenty of fucking money for food. I just need money for meth.
Yeah, I need the
But what
meth
I'm saying though
money
is I
back.
like that whole idea when people do that because it's like it's a charity that goes further. It goes further, right? Like you actually have to go and buy the food for the person.
Yeah.
And get it rather than
Actually
just
doing
hand them some
something.
money, right? But hey,
Or you see them outside the LCBO sometimes.
Oh yeah, but we'll segue that into, like I said, food. We can segue that right into the shaming.
The shaming.
Are you gonna fat shame that person that needs the food
That needs the food.
when you get them? You don't need any food, buddy.
You don't need any. You're good.
You're clearly okay. You're not starving.
Yeah,
I don't know why you're
not
homeless.
anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't know why you're homeless, but
anytime
you are definitely not starving.
Yeah, I mean that is the thing. You do have fat homeless people
Oh, I know.
in the Western world.
Well, are they really homeless? Ooh.
Yeah, some of them. Ooh,
Sorry,
I was just distracted now.
No, I got a text. It's the very nice text where someone says, "Hey, I'm stopping at this place. Would you like something?"
Nah,
I love those texts. That's nice.
those are the greatest, aren't they?
Yeah, that's nice. I'm not gonna shame her for that.
No.
No.
Tell her I would like several things.
Yeah. No, I just started listening out.
Just say I'll have this, and Tyler will get this.
Imagine that.
And I haven't heard back from Mike and Joe yet to see what they.
That'd be hilarious. You're like, oh, listen, I know there's a lot of things. Let me just give me a second. I need to compile a list.
Yeah.
I gotta make a couple phone calls.
A couple phone calls.
It's like if you were ordering food or something and then you find out like at an office or something like that, you're like, hey, I'm just gonna go for a couple coffees or whatever, or coffeeing them up. And you want something? Oh yeah, sure. Oh hey Hank, do you want something? Tim
I was just going.
yeah,
I was going to Tim's.
All of a sudden, 50 fucking people. You got a massive order. You're like,
okay, hold on.
Thanks, Dickberg. Thanks for just including that to everybody. Yeah, yep. I'll make sure next time I sneak out and not tell you shit.
Yeah. Exactly. You get fuck all next time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, did you have another article or that?
Those were the three main articles in fat shaming. We could probably maybe get into like a conversation about fitness because
it segues into it a little bit.
It's related, and you know a thing or two about that.
I know a couple things. I suppose.
You know one or two things.
A couple things
at least.
I think 3.
Yeah, maybe 3.
I think it's 3.
It's important. I think that's something that I've discovered. That it's just you feel so much better, both about the way that you look, but like there is a tangible, good feeling that comes with regular exercise and that is, I don't know, relatable to drugs, to be honest.
Well, it definitely releases endorphins and stuff through your body. I don't know if it's dopamine. I don't know what it, but I'm sure it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which ones do.
There's something about struggle.
But it's some kind of endorphin it releases. Again, dopamine's one. There's all different endorphins that are released, but I'm not sure which one.
Because I think I've said this before. Like, there's nothing, right? If I have a hard day at work and then I go home and I have a good workout, there's just nothing. There's absolutely nothing that compares to the feeling when you finally get to your bed at the end.
But you're conditioned though. It takes time. It takes time for somebody to get conditioned to that point.
Yeah, but once you get to that point, it's like, holy shit, it's a whole nother
if you
level,
can get through,
if
you can get through the first 2 to 4 weeks, it kind of depends on how you are. But what do they say? It's like 3 weeks for something to
no idea.
To become sort of not a habit, but become like a habit forming thing. I think it's 3 weeks, something like that. Don't quote me on that. But if you can get through like that first phase of a few weeks that are rough.
Mm-hmm.
And
where it really hurts,
right? And again, you don't
really don't want to do it.
But I think again, with the problem is people try and fast track it. They're like, oh, I didn't see results for the first couple of weeks. I didn't really see anything. Fuck it. I'm just gonna give up. I eat the cheeseburger.
You're not gonna see results that fast.
No, but I think to
Plus,
correlate
also,
this,
what people say is you're gonna notice the results before people around you notice.
No, I think the opposite.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think the opposite. I think people notice shit a lot more than you will. Like somebody will look at you and go, "Man, you look slim. Like you look like you've lost a little bit of weight or something," and you don't see it because it's so gradual. Because you're in the middle of the process. Unless you're documenting it well. Unless you're doing you're doing measurements and you're on the scale. If that's what I don't believe in the scale.
You don't think they exist?
Yeah. No, I don't. No, but the scale is not a good measurement, right? Because it can really fuck with you. It
tells you how much weight you are.
But it can really throw
That's really all it is.
But it can really throw your mindset. Especially women, throws their mindset.
Yes, because women are very weight
They start working out.
Centric.
Yeah, they start working out, and then they don't see the numbers coming off the scale, and they go.
You don't realize that muscle weighs more than fat, right? So
you got to measure.
If you
gotta do measurements. That's
if all of a sudden you're a woman, you're building up your ass and you're building up the muscle properly with squats, and you're doing it the right way, you're gonna gain weight. Yeah. And it might fuck with you. I can see that.
No, but so to segue to correlate this, to what we were talking about with the whole woke thing, I think this hyper push to like this fat shaming kind of thing is gonna drive people over the other way. So I think it might be actually a good thing because like you're seeing that now with with the whole woke push, how people are like they hate this shit being shoved down their throat so much that they're moving more and more to the right. They're moving more and more conservative.
Someone against it. More
like myself, even.
But the part of that is artificial, though, because we're accepting more and more things as like right wing.
I get it.
That are like in the 90s would be radical.
Exactly. But my point on this though is if let's say that same thing correlates, which I think it will. That's my opinion anyway. If we get this from this fat shame push where we're getting friggin' choked with this bullshit, we got to swallow this crap, and we go, no, fuck that. I think a lot of people are going to go the opposite way, and they're going to just start to do some things to maybe change and start to exercise more. And you were seeing kind of a mixed bag of that with COVID, with people like I saw so many people that were in lockdown that got in fucking shape, that were working out like a motherfucker. And then conversely, there were some people that were like, I got COVID weight. I put some COVID weight on.
Yeah.
So, but I did see more people that got in shape. A lot of
people took advantage.
Yeah, they took advantage of that time and stuff. So I think if you start to see that push, the opposite from that, we could end up being better once this sort of ship rightens. Like I said, it's the hyper push one way, and everybody overcorrects back. And I think that overcorrection back might be a good thing for people health-wise long term, right?
Ultimately, yes. I do think we've barely entered the storm, but it's a conversation for another time.
What do you mean as far as
the pendulum?
Oh, the pendulum swing? Yeah. We could probably talk for like 3 weeks of a podcast.
There are a lot of indicators that suggest things are going to get a lot worse before they get better, but things are probably going to get better. I mean, they always do, unless we have an extinction event, which is, I don't know. We've had a pretty good track record for the last probably 100,000 years, right? No real mass extinction events.
Who knows when?
From
the last
human
one?
Beings.
The last one that we fully know of was the Yucatan, right? the dinosaurs, 65 million years ago.
No, that's not the last. Well, that's
That
the
was the
last
last
like
major
significant
extinction.
But no, I'm talking human extinction event,
we don't
not
know
necessarily.
Of any. We don't really know of any.
Yes, there was one. I don't know the details, but there was a time where the human population was estimated to have gone down to like I think several hundred overall around.
Yeah, how do they know that? How can they know
the
that?
fossil record.
Yeah, but
you see where they're a bunch of people, and then where'd they go?
A couple hundred on the planet.
Estimated.
Yeah, I don't.
A very very. It was a ridiculous. Small amount of human beings.
I could see in the tens of thousands, but I can't see that low. That seems ridiculously low. But either way, I think there's a possibility that extinction events happened numerous times, like mass extinction events through natural disasters
all
and stuff
through
like that.
even before the dinosaur one. There were like other ones before that.
Yeah. That's just the one that we know that was an absolute mass extinction event for the whole planet. Like, that's the only one that they can kind of prove 100%. Well, I shouldn't say 100%. It's the consensus that, and I mean, you can actually see, if you look in the Yucatan in Mexico, you can actually see where the crater would be in the Gulf of Mexico. There, it's pretty fucking cool when you see it from space.
Yeah.
It was 10 miles wide, right? So. Did you watch that Netflix movie called Up?
Yes.
Yeah, it was good, eh?
Netflix movie? It's a Pixar movie.
I thought it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, but it's a Pixar movie.
Oh, I just assumed it was a Netflix film.
No, I thought Up was like pre-Netflix being what it is. Like, I think Netflix existed.
No, you're thinking the wrong thing, man.
What, Up?
This is a movie, not a fucking cartoon. You're thinking of the...
What, cartoons aren't movies now?
No. This is one with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, Look Up. Don't look up.
Don't look up.
Okay, so use Up.
Sorry,
Up is a very famous movie.
Is that the one with the dog?
The Old Man and the Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Don't look up.
Don't
no, I
look
haven't
up.
seen it, but I understand the plot somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. They were talking about 10 mile, almost a 10 mile wide asteroid coming to hit the Earth. But it was pretty funny, actually.
Okay, So it says the worldwide population of human beings skidded so sharply we were down to roughly 1,000 reproductive adults. One study says we hit as low as 40, and what they mean by that is breeding pairs. So like when you follow the gene line back, you get down to like at one point in time it was down to like 40
in a certain section of the world.
No, globally. Yeah, like it was actually it was a crazy. It's insane to think about, but that's
I don't trust that.
What happened?
I don't trust that. I think that's both fucking shit. We've explored like 5% or something, or 8% of the fucking ocean. We've somehow explored 100% of the landmass, and figured out at this fossil record that there was this mass extinction. Fuck off. Who coordinated this whole friggin' effort?
Yeah, because it's not it's a lot simpler than that, because you know where the people are, because you see where the people are in the fossil record. You see, okay, there are people here, and there aren't people there.
I call bullshit.
Yeah.
I call bullshit.
This is supposedly 70,000 years ago.
That sounds like a biblical type thing.
I forget what it was.
Was the two left Adam and Eve? That's what
40. There's Adam,
a lot of Adams.
Eve, Steve, Margaret, Tiffany,
Stinky
Jonathan,
Finger Steve. There's Stinky Finger Steve. That's where he came from.
I forget what they say happened though.
Could have been a lot of things.
Oh, it was a volcano.
I was gonna say it could have been a mass volcano that triggered off. Like, if that one goes, one goes off the coast of San Francisco.
I think that actually. Oh no, yeah.
That San Andreas Fault. If that one ever goes, man, that's gonna be
fucking Yellowstone.
That's gonna be a nightmare.
Those things are.
Well, look at the earthquake.
We don't have the facilities to deal with that.
Oh yeah,
they'll send us into the dark ages.
Well, look at the earthquake that happened in Japan in 2009 or whatever it was. Fuck, man, that was crazy.
Earthquake?
Yeah, the one that was that hit the Fukushima plant and shit.
Oh, that was
that caused those tsunamis. Well, that was an earthquake.
Yeah,
that was an earthquake that caused a tsunami.
Yeah.
But they figured the earthquake was like an 8.8 or something on the Richter scale. That's sick.
Something crazy.
There was another one in Chile, the same size.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was going down south, and I was thinking that might fuck me up. I was going down to Mazatlan or something at the time, in Mexico. So I was going further down south Mexico, and I thought, oh fuck, this might screw up our sort of trip. But Yeah. Anyways, we're digressing off to some weird shit now, but
Earthquakes
and mass extinction events.
The meteor that's gonna hit us. Or the comet, I guess, in that movie.
Yeah.
Don't look up.
No, but it's the whole woke thing that they were making fun of, right? Like half of the population was like, don't look up. The other half is like, look up. And then finally, when the other half of the population that were saying don't look up, one guy looks up and goes, "Oh fuck, it's coming!"
Yeah,
he sees the asteroid, and they're all like, "Oh god, you lied to us." So I don't know what their
They weren't making fun of the woke stuff. They were making fun of the right wing, but they got it backwards.
No,
in terms of actuality.
No, it does make fun of. It does make fun of everything. It touches on everything.
Yeah.
Touches a piece on everything. Now I don't know what their particular agenda was, because it feels like it kind of,
given that it's a mainstream Hollywood movie,
it feels like it had some,
because they made the right wingers out to be the people saying don't look up, and that's the opposite of what's happening in the world today, right? The right wingers should be like, hey, look at the data over there. Hey, why is the government doing this? And it's the left and the mainstream media. It's like,
but at the same time, it doesn't really matter to me as long as it's funny.
As long as it gets the point across.
It gets the point across.
It's obviously it's a movie. Is it fun to watch? And then okay, cool.
It's like South Park, right? If you watch South Park, they have an agenda.
Park.
They have an agenda, but they make fun of everything pretty well. Like they even make fun of shit that's on the right side of what you could think that's probably their agenda, but they still make fun of it too. Yeah. But they definitely make fun of the shit.
They're not afraid. They got a good idea for a joke. They're going to fucking go for it. Oh, fuck.
They hammer it, man. They don't even care, man. Yeah. Like, they don't care who they're offending.
No. Which is probably, at this point, they probably have so much money.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about how much money South Park made?
Trey Parker,
those
Matt
guys.
Stone?
Oh, stupid money.
They gotta be. They gotta be. In syndication and all that shit, man.
Yeah, like, unless they fucking sold all their rights early on. I bet you
they're worth $100 million plus each.
Yeah, probably. And they might be worth more if you like, depending on how smart they've been business wise, how much they own of like merchandise and t-shirts, stuff like that that are sold, and they could be billionaires.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that they have. No, I'm not saying that they necessarily are. I feel like if they were, when you're an artist, you're doing this, you're not necessarily looking about things from the business perspective. If they were, I think they could be.
Yeah, maybe.
I think they have, but I don't. Obviously.
I don't know. They were friends for a long time, right? Like they were.
Yes.
So it's like
which is why maybe they've sold a lot of their rights or their intellectual property early on. We'll give you $10 million, for the right to sell toys, and the toys make hundreds of millions of dollars. But at the time they're like, $10 million.
Rogan talks about that on the podcast, and one of the podcasts I just watched, he was talking about guys that have started stuff like, for example, when he was starting his podcast, when it was getting mainstream, I should say, he got offers. He got offers, like these garbage offers where they were going to own it, basically, and they were like, "Oh, but we'll pay you this and that, whatever," right? And he goes, "I know guys that are still stuck in these fucking garbage contracts." Someone like Chappelle on the Chappelle Show, his contract was garbage, but I mean, he was nobody. He was like he was funny, but he was like a nobody actor. So yeah, of course he's going to take that. But that's why it would be like, for example, in the NHL, all about this. The NHL contracts for rookies are garbage. But now, if you lock that guy into a 15-year contract at that garbage rate, that would be bullshit. Who's ever going to take that? But they do it in show business and stuff, right? Because they don't know if they're going to necessarily be.
Plus, it's possibly like a stepping stone kind of thing, right? Like it's okay, you do this thing and maybe it's a shitty deal, but it takes off and now people know who you are.
So that's why it should be short contracts.
They are billionaires, by the way.
Oh, they are?
It says on here Trey Parker has a net worth of $600 million, but then there's another article talking about how from 2021 where they signed some kind of deal worth $900 million.
Holy shit.
So like between them they're probably worth at least $1 billion each at this point, because obviously you got to count that Google is not necessarily all that accurate, and they've probably
be accurate the other way.
And
too.
they probably bought, that's true, but they probably bought Bitcoin in 2010. Let's just assume that they did.
Hey, did I tell you what Carrot Top is worth according to Google?
Hardly anything. I think you
said
it.
A shit ton.
Oh yeah, but he's
75 million.
But he's not.
No, I don't know. I don't know what he's worth.
Probably is.
But I'm saying, but that's
what you
what,
say. He had that Vegas contract.
Yeah,
He's making millions. A year.
He's got at the Luxor. He's got a tenure there for
he's probably worth more than 75.
20 something.
I feel like he was such a big thing in the past. He's got.
What I'm saying though is, who knew that? You didn't. You were surprised when I told you that. So was I. I was fucking surprised as hell. I didn't know he was. I thought he was relevant. He's lost all the weight too, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
He's lost all the muscle.
All that lean muscle.
No, he lost all the fucking steroids.
All the steroids.
He stopped
out
juicing,
out of his
and
system.
it all fell off him like it always does. Anybody who juices
sheds.
Yeah, you just drop it.
Yeah, you got to be natural.
Well, you got to do something when you're on the steroids. You got to use it. Like I know of guys that take steroids and then they just. Oh, I got big. Look, I got big. And then the minute they stop taking steroids.
Yeah.
You got to eat, work out, build the base. And then you got to work a little harder when you get off the steroids because steroids are not doing it anymore. Now you got to
upkeep, got to maintain. And it's probably gonna be hard.
Maybe you got to take testosterone. You might have to take testosterone for the rest of your life.
Steroids.
It causes low testosterone. Yeah, it causes low test
production.
Especially depending on what age you take it. It's worse for young guys because it early stops testosterone production.
Yeah.
And then they're fucked for the rest of their life. If you take it a little later in life.
You might be able to adapt better.
It can actually, your body can adapt back a little.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different studies to show things like that, but it's a crapshoot. Depends on how your body reacts, right? But my point is, he lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah, he did.
And it was funny because it wasn't mentioned whatsoever on the podcast, which I found very funny as well.
Well, they did talk about how he got jacked.
Well, he did talk about that, but he didn't say anything about how.
How and what happened.
I mean, not the real how. He just said, "Oh, I worked out a lot. I was." Yeah, fuck off, Carrot Top.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, why?
Just admit it, man.
Why don't you want to admit it?
Yeah,
you know.
Especially
when it's obvious.
Right.
Not always, but a lot of the time it's obvious.
You're right. It isn't obvious
that you're taking steroids.
I had a guy that worked for me that took steroids. You would have no idea he took steroids.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I knew because I saw the growth difference,
right?
Like within a few weeks, type thing. But he didn't look like a guy who took steroids. Because he started as a fairly skinny guy and then he put on weight, but it didn't look really unnatural. I've had a couple people back before, not accuse me, but question me whether I took steroids or not. I'm like,
that's like the biggest compliment you can receive.
I know it kind of is, but I would say to him, I'm like, this is how I would say back. I'm like, do I honestly look like a guy who takes steroids? Yeah. And they're like, well, I'm like, come on, man, I'd be a lot bigger. Number one. I said, I would hope I'd be a lot bigger.
You'd hope so.
I'm useless.
Otherwise, what's the point? Because I did this without steroids.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. I'm like, I'd be like, maybe I should have taken steroids. Yeah. If you think I took steroids, maybe I should have taken them. Fuck.
No, because then you get that pride of like, oh, you think I took steroids? Okay.
Yeah, I know. No, I like the idea that I'm natural. I've never taken steroids, but at the same time, if you take steroids, do it. Just admit it. It's cool. Don't fucking lie. Didn't Rogan say he took steroids?
TRT.
That's testosterone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's like designer steroids.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of different designer steroids. But so you can take T-balls.
Could be that in his age, his testosterone levels went down. He looked pretty damn good in his news radio days, so it's maybe he was early on, and maybe that's why he needed TRT later on, is because maybe his testosterone went down, like you were saying.
Yeah. I don't know. He didn't look like he was. I don't know. I used to go to the gym a lot, and I've seen a lot of juice monkeys. And I mean, there's a difference there'd be a difference if you took a cycle, I guess, as opposed to if you're taking multiple cycles back to back to back.
I'm doing this now.
Yeah.
This is me.
Yeah.
I'm the steroids guy.
Yeah. And it's funny when I watch those guys, they work out. They don't even work out all that hard, which I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? Why do it? If you're gonna take steroids and your angle is to be like a Mr. Olympian, cool. But if it's not, why bother? You just But again, it's maybe we're going back to body dysmorphia and people, this idea you can't be big enough, or maybe this
constantly feeling small,
or this woman, her body dysmorphia is the idea that she can't get smaller, so she's just forcing people to accept,
right?
Through shame or whatever the fuck she's trying to use.
I think a lot of the time that's like a fake rationale, or feeling like, oh, I try to lose weight but I can't. I think a lot of people run into the issue where they are, I don't know, they're snacking, and when they say they're not, like pretending that they aren't, or they're lying to themselves, or lying to other people. they're maybe, you know, having like buttered bread and putting too much butter on it and not really factoring in how many calories that is and how just bad it is for you. And just all this sort of stuff, you know, like maybe a little extra ketchup on your fucking burger. Like, it's just weird things that I think people fall into a trap of. They're like,
think about this. Think about how little this is. I'm going to put this into perspective for you. Just using your idea there, or your examples. If we can agree to say roughly a calories or a pound of fat is 3,500 calories. If we can just agree to that, I know it's not exactly, but
roughly,
we say roughly 3,500 calories. If, let's say, every day you're eating an extra 100, you're just eating an extra 100 calories, just fucking a little extra butter or whatever on something that you're not really accounting for. You're just doing it, but everything else is tight. And you're like, but you're not really working out. You're like, I'm just going to do it this way. You could still be gaining roughly a pound a month. So imagine that. Like, just that simple 100 pounds, like, or 100
especially
calories.
If you're pushing it.
That's a fucking 100 calories or more. What is it? What is a beer? It's 140 calories or something.
It doesn't say. Isn't it supposed to?
It's a little.
Law
I don't know. That's probably on the case.
It probably
on the case. But
yeah, it doesn't say on here. It's probably 100 calories though, or 150.
It's something like that. I think it's 100.
Beer. I feel like beers are between 1 and 200.
I think it's
depending on the beer.
But it's different. A lot of people don't realize this too. Liquid calories are a little different, right? Your body metabolizes a little bit differently.
You probably piss a lot of it out.
There's things like that are going on. I don't know exactly, but your body metabolizes it different. Like food, there's a caloric difference with food. Your body's going to break that down a little bit differently, right? But anyways, what I'm saying though is the point is just that little bit, that 100 calories, a Lindor, one of those fucking chocolates, is 80 calories, just one.
Yeah.
You're like, I just eat just one of these. It's after meal. I just
every couple hours, I just have one.
I just need a little bite, just a little bite.
Yeah.
80 fucking calories. There you go. Why am I not losing? Well, that's why.
Right there.
Right. It's like these simple things. It's so simple.
Like with the buttered bread idea, it's like people will Google like, okay, how many calories in a buttered piece of bread? It'd be like, oh, it's 150 calories. But then they're putting extra butter, and the butter is where the most of the calories are coming from to begin with. Yeah. Like, because butter is very so you put that extra butter on there, and now maybe you're dipping it in pasta sauce or something, right? Mm-hmm. You know, now that 150 calories is 300.
Or you're eating a fucking whole Papa John's pizza, and then you got a dipping sauce that you're dipping some shit in,
and you got
there,
sides,
and then you got some sides or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
Ours is 110 calories.
That's even lower. He's
our live fact checker.
Jamie.
Jamie's art is Jamie.
That's right. But also, what was I going to say about that? Also, I always say this to people. I'm like, look, listen, if you want to be that way, which I'm that way. Like, I don't fucking think about what I eat. I eat the way I eat a lot because I'm picky, and two, I've just gotten used to it. But if you want to do that and you want to not worry about what the fuck you're putting in, just exercise then. Just make up the difference by getting it.
Go hard.
Yeah, or be like, hey, you know what?
It's hard though when you're eating this shitty food. You don't feel as good.
No, I know.
You know.
I know. But and then what I did when I did. It's funny that we started with Beachbody because they're the parent company for the P90X, and that was one of the first sort of programs I ever did back in 2009-10. I would have a cheat day every week. Sundays were my cheat day because it was football day, right? So I would, at first it was a mess. My cheat day was a mess. I'd be like, full bag of chips, couple chocolate bars, fucking pop, something else. I'd go and buy all this shit. I'd be like, I'm going to cheat my ass off today. Yeah. And I would kill a lot of it too, right? But then it started to taper off. And then it got to a point where it was my cheat day. It was like, fucking, so what? It's the mental idea that you can do it, right? That you're allowing yourself to do it. Doesn't mean necessarily you're going to do it, right? You're giving yourself that permission to do it. But it's when you restrict yourself from it that you. That's
See, for me right now is I crave it.
Yeah, you crave it because it's like a mental thing for you.
Comes up for me.
You're a fucking weird psycho. I think you have.
This is a weird psycho.
No, this is what I think it is. This is what I'm going to lay out the science here. I'm pretty sure this is dead on. Right.
What's the science?
I think.
What's the science, Fauci?
I think that I am science. I think that you have like a man love for Papa John himself.
I do like.
I think
Papa
it started.
John Shatner.
I think it started with liking the pizza, but then it grew to a man love.
Definitely evolved
for Yeah,
Oh,
we have a visitor
guests.
that I knew was coming, so it's fine.
You just surprised us.
It surprised you, not me.
Well, yes, I was surprised.
Don't deflect off the idea that you have man love for Papa John.
I love Papa John.
Yeah.
I love John Shatner. He's one of my favorite human beings.
Yeah, but loving him for his pizza and loving him for other things is.
Well, we can love all of Papa John. We don't have to just pick on the pizza part. And
we don't want to fat
we
shame
just love
him.
the whole thing.
There's no fat
The
shaming
whole thing
Papa John.
about Papa John.
He got in hot water though. That dude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for what. I can't remember what it was, but he got in hot water.
Oh, he said the N-word in the context of like.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Other people can say it, so why he was like criticizing them for saying it, but he uttered the sound.
Oh. Yeah,
so he got canceled.
Yeah, that's the problem with that word. It's one of those words.
That's what happened to the Netflix guy, but.
Which one?
The Netflix guy.
Who's that?
Some executive at Netflix was like going over like, here's what you can't say.
That's right.
And he said it, and he made the noise, and so
he made the noise.
That's basically it is. That's what it is. He didn't call anybody it.
I'll tell you what.
There was no mean spirit. He just made the noise.
I'll tell you what. In the history of humanity, there has probably never been a more powerful word that just frightens the fuck out of a lot of people, other than maybe moist, which I just said.
Moist weirds a lot of people.
Moist weirds a lot of people.
Scares anybody.
And then the C word, which I'm not even gonna say. I'm gonna say it as the C word. Everybody knows what the C word is.
Cunt.
What, you just said it.
I'm not afraid of the C word.
No, but it's funny. There's a couple of different words: the F word, the C word, the N word. They're very strong.
They're strong
you
words.
Say that, man.
They
you just
mean
say that,
something.
and people universally know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
I feel like you could go to like a little village somewhere and be like, there was some guy over here said the N word, and they'd be like, whoa. Okay. They just know exactly what you're talking about.
Some random tribe in the Amazon. Oh, you said that. Oh,
boy. This white devil over here said the N word.
Well, maybe we should end it then.
That's
you got a
probably
special guest.
She's always special. Yeah, I don't know where she went, but
she's hiding.
She's hiding out of view. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Good place to end is always on the strength of words.
The strength of words.
So
words are very powerful. They're the most scary thing sometimes.
A little tip or a little sneak peek for next week. We're gonna have
cryptocurrency with art.
Cryptocurrency with art with the.
We're going to learn some things.
With who I would call the resident expert of cryptocurrency.
Definitely the resident expert.
He's been in this space for quite a while.
Which is hard to do because it's not that old.
He's always been in the forefront of it too, though. Mm-hmm. He's the guy that got me into it. It's funny because it kind of went full circle because I first mentioned it to him back in, like I told you, back in like 2009 or something like that or whatever it was.
Days.
I saw it on MSNBC and asked him about it and he didn't know anything about it. And then... full circle back, he's telling me all about it and getting me to invest in it and buying one of those.
And you didn't.
Those little
you're
wallets.
An idiot.
I do have some, very little.
Not enough. Or
no.
Not early enough.
I even bought one of those fucking stupid ledgers. Spent all the money on that. Never used it. I have all the code for it, but I've never used it.
Wow.
It's a 40-word code. It's crazy. It's in my phone somewhere. But anyways, yeah. So that'll be next Friday. We'll do that
next week. Yeah.
And and if you do like this podcast, you happen to be watching it, you should subscribe.
You should probably. I don't know why you wouldn't.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a jerk.
Yeah, maybe you're a total jerk.
You're a fat shaming jerk.
No, you're a fat jerk.
Yeah, you're a fat jerk.
Yeah, you're a fat jerk. That's why. But we're gonna end it now.